My nighttime guilty pleasure is watching makeup artists do clients' makeup. And I noticed from a lot of these videos, they start with their forehead and work their way down. So today we're gonna do our makeup from top to bottom. And I feel like it's just gonna be so much more detailed. Of course, I'm gonna start off by just priming my whole face before we start with the forehead. Starting off with this Anastasia Hydra Prime. You guys, this is so good. It has SPF 50. I tried it yesterday for the very first time and my skin prep was on point. The way that preps the skin is so good. I'm also gonna try a few new techniques today because of the way we're doing the makeup. Starting off with the forehead, I'm going in with some REM potted concealer. I'm gonna start working in between the brows, building out from there since the brows are next. Also carving them out at the top just to help for the next step. Now, before we go in with foundation, I'm gonna put a brighter concealer on the center of my forehead. Okay, so I built a SHOPMY account and I'm linking all the products I use on the daily there. So the sprays, the concealers I use every day, the foundation, they're all gonna be linked there to make it easy for you guys. Now I am just blending this concealer out. For foundation, I'm going with the Hourglass Veil Hydrating Skin Tint, working around that concealer instead of blending it right on top. Look how smooth that looks. Is this method like forcing me to take more time and pay attention to every little detail? For a little bit of sculpting, I'm taking my Natasha Denona New Cream Bronzer, and I'm just gonna be buffing this on the framing of my forehead. Of course, bringing that foundation brush back and Beauty Blender to melt everything together. I'm so happy with that first section. All right, this section is up next. I'm gonna start by priming the lids. I'm gonna just blend this everywhere, all up until right under the brow, even going to the center right where that nose bridge is. Okay, I'm gonna do one brow off camera and come back and show you guys the other one. All right, the brow is done. Let me show you how I did it. All of my brow products are linked on my SHOPMY. I started with just lightly underlining the framing of the brow and then just swiping up a few times to fill in those gaps. Taking my Refy Brow Gel, I'm taming the brows before the next and most important step, carving that out with concealer. I put a lot of concealer on my brush and then I just start by underlining. I'm gonna blend out that underlining with a concealer brush. Also carving right above that arch. As you can see, there's a lot of concealer on the forehead, so I'm going to take those brushes that I used on the forehead, bring some of that bronzer back before the foundation brush. Okay, now that the brows and forehead is done, I'm going to go ahead and set the forehead, lock it into place. Taking my Kosas Peach Powder to set the center of that forehead and a little bit above my brows, or taking my Charlotte Tilbury powder and setting the remainder. Now I'm going to bronze the forehead before I bake. Now setting the center of that forehead with Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. Going in with some brow gel to coat the brows that got covered with powder. Okay, we did a subtle winged out black and brown smoky eye. Let's get into it. I'm using one palette, the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3 palette. Starting with the cream black shade, I'm basically making a line right above my lash line and winging that out just a little bit before taking some black shadow on a little stubby brush and blending that out. Kind of keeping it in the same place, but just diffusing it. Next, I'm taking a lighter brown auburn shade and I'm laying that kind of right on top of the black, but a little higher up and seamlessly blending those two together. Going in with a light tan shade, I'm putting that right above where that last shade ended. And since that black did get diluted a little bit, I'm bringing it back. Quickly tight lining with a black gel liner. Popped on a few coats of my Clinique Hi-Fi mascara. Right after that, I'm going in with my Too Faced concealer and NARS Radiant Creamy. But before I blend this out, I'm going to take a little bit of my potted because I want a really good under eye. Feeling a little different today. I usually go in with a beauty blender always. I want to start off with a brush today. We're getting artsy, y'all. We're also going to lay down that concealer with a beauty blender. I also took it around the underneath of my nose. More foundation. Now, since we're still working on the under eyes, I'm not going to place it here yet. I'm going to dust off my foundation brush quite a lot, leaving only a little bit of product on the brush. And I'm going to add that onto the nose and right around where the end of that concealer ends and a little bit above, just so that we can combine the forehead to the under eyes. The Hourglass Skin Tint is also another one of my faves. Putting that bronzer right where we finished that foundation. Also blending upwards so that the temples can blend in with the cheek. And I love this blush. This is in the shade Bubba. It's a collab with Nude Sticks and My Bae Kevin. I'm taking that color on the back of my hand. You couldn't tell, we're going in with all new brushes today, which I freaking love. I'm just gonna add that right in that middle area where the concealer ends and the bronzer starts, and just kind of build that up the side of the face. This color is so pretty. I love it. All right, all the creams are done. Now it's time to lock in section number 3. I'm just gonna do that same setting routine that I did on the center of my forehead, lightly dusting Charlotte Tilbury powder over the cheeks. Only difference with this section is that not only am I bronzing up the cheeks, I'm also contouring the nose and setting with that same Laura Mercier loose powder. Dusting off that bake. Why does everything just look so much smoother this way? It makes no sense. Taking a little bit of this Kosas blush in Wavelength and I'm just layering that on top. Last piece of this section is highlighter. Patrick Ta highlighter and Daddy, going in with powder first. Going back to the eyes just to sweep a little bit of that highlighter on the brow bone, tip of the nose and bridge. Now going in with cream, I'm going to just tap right over the powder that we put on, a little on that brow bone, All right, we're on to the bottom part of the face. Honestly, does anyone even know that I don't have any makeup down here? Going in with my D'Alba First Serum Spray just to make sure everything is still movable. Let's run through this part quickly. Concealer on the chin and a little bit around the top and bottom lip. Pressing that in with a beauty blender. We only need a little bit more foundation, like a small amount. Thinning that foundation out on the back of my hand before going right in. I'm gonna be very gentle with this because I wanna go around that cheek that we just carved out. And I'm also gonna go over that concealer that we just put around our lips, setting the chin and under the nose with that same pressed powder. And of course, the rest of the face with Charlotte. Ooh, just with a little bit of bronzer underneath that jawline. But I'm going back in with my blending brush and just making sure that's all very smooth. Taking a little bit of loose powder underneath the nose and on the center of the chin. Last but not least, the lips. I've been doing this lip combo in a lot of my recent videos, so if you've been waiting for a lip combo, here it is. Huda Beauty lip contour in warm brown. Okay, so I sort of overline with this one, and then I take NARS Spunk and I line my actual lip shape, no overline, cleaning up around the lips. MAC Peach Stock on the center only. Huda Beauty lip oil in Juicy Goji. Anastasia Impeccable Setting Spray. This one gives you a matte finish, so I love using it first. And the spray on this is so soft. Then of course, One Size On Till Dawn. Oh, you thought we were done. There's another layer, babe. Patrick Ta All Over Body Balm and She's on Vacation. That just bronzed up my body and made it match my face. IGK Good Behavior Frizz and Flyaway Taming Wand. I have not tried this yet. Let's see. Ooh, that is so smooth. Like, look at those flyaways right there. Oh my God, those are the hardest flyaways to get down. There you go. That was me doing my makeup from top to bottom, and I don't know why. I love that. Like, I loved taking my time on each section of my face and actually perfecting each part. Would you guys try this? I feel like if I was sitting there and I needed my makeup to be perfect and had the time, I would definitely do this. I'm probably gonna end up doing it all the time, just like this.